More controversial news for Elon Musk. SpaceX has reportedly fired several employees who took part in a letter that was critical of both the billionaire and the space company. Yahoo Finance tech editor Dan Howley joins us with more. Dan.
That's right, Brian. This is a report from the New York Times saying that an unknown number of employees were released from SpaceX as a result of this letter that was written, basically criticizing CEO Elon Musk and his recent public behavior on Twitter in particular, as well as that report from insiders saying that there were allegations of sexual harassment related to a former flight attendant on a former SpaceX flight attendant in which Elon Musk apparently paid $250,000 to after those harassment allegations. And so they were basically trying to get the employees of SpaceX to sign on to this letter, asking leadership there to denounce Musk's behavior, or at least try to separate his behavior from SpaceX's own mission. But now those employees have been let go. And, there was obviously he spoke with members of Twitter, employees at Twitter yesterday, kind of going over everything that he plans, or most of what he plans for the company if he buys it, though he didn't say specifically that he still wants to buy it during that conversation. And so, now there's worries in Twitter, obviously, about how their activism will mesh with Elon Musk's management style and whether or not they would then face consequences for their own activism at Twitter.
Okay, so from what we're hearing in this report about SpaceX, from what we know in terms of the internal culture and the settlement that took place for racial discrimination at Tesla, for all of these question marks around how Elon Musk or the culture underneath of some of his companies is run, I think it's a fair question to ask. Is the profile himself still enough as a talent acquisition pool if enough employees are saying we disagree with how these companies are being run?
Yeah, it's interesting because there are a number of people, obviously, online, Twitter specifically, who, watch what Elon Musk says with bated breath, right? They'll follow him regardless of what he says because of what he says. And there are probably a good number of talented people in those ranks, but you have to imagine that perhaps not many, it's not a majority of people who see what he says and think, yeah, he's right on everything, or, he should have this kind of free reign over Twitter, or, have free speech absolutism for Twitter, which is what he says he believes, and then kind of stifle the speech of people at his other companies in this kind of way. So, it's hard to determine whether or not it'll start impacting the business itself. The big thing that everybody looks at is Tesla and how that will be impacted by his behavior. And look, I mean, the guy sent out a tweet saying, funding secured, 420, smoked weed on a podcast. He does all these things, and Tesla's still, outside of the slump caused by the overall market and economic activity in general. The stock is still doing incredibly well. So people are buying Teslas left and right. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever impact the companies themselves or the people who would work there. I think, at this point, I don't know what kind of issue he could do or cause that would make people take a step back.
All right. Yahoo Finance's own Dan Howley will continue to track this report, as well as what comes next in kind of the world of Elon Musk at this point as well.